Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the Munsters 2022. But before we get into that, remind you guys to please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on all my socials, Instagram, and all that stuff. All those links will be in the description below. And if you guys have any suggestions of movies I should watch this month for 31 Nights of Halloween, put it in the comments below. If I don't get to them this year, maybe we'll do this again next year, and we'll talk about them then. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So The Munsters 2022, this is a Rob Zombie directed film made for Netflix, and it's a pretty interesting venture. If you're not familiar with Rob Zombie, obviously rock star, music icon, some would say, but he does directed films in the past, Three from Hell, House of a Thousand Corpses, Lords of Salem, the Halloween reboots. He directed all those movies, but this is the first time that he directed a movie that wasn't extremely violent, extremely gory, extremely lewd, rude, and crude. Very much a different project for Rob Zombie, and that's why I was very intrigued to watch this movie when it first came out. I actually got to see this movie early, and I made a review of it. It was supposed to come out the day of the movie, but the copyright almost got my channel taken down for the movie. So finally able to talk about it and give you my thoughts on it. What I had said a lot better. If you want to hear my review of the movie from back then, it's just the audio version. Go check it out on Spotify. You can find Splattervision Presents. You can find that podcast. It's just my reviews in audio format, so go listen to that if you want to listen to the original review. It goes more into depth of the movie, but for now I'm just going to give you my abridged version of what that was. Yeah, pretty much that this movie is definitely a different direction that Rob Zombie took. It's a prequel to The Munsters. If you haven't familiar with the show, it came out in the 60s. You got a different horror movie monster characters. It's like a one big family. And so this is his interpretation of what the beginning of the story would look like. You get a Herman Munster and Lily falling in love. You have the Count. He's not quite Grandpa yet, so they just call him the Count. But we don't see Eddie Munster. He doesn't come in this movie. And I don't think they're going to be doing a sequel to this one because it was really panned by people who watched it and critics and stuff like that. So I don't think this one's gonna come out, or a second one's gonna come out. So, but the movie itself, I thought it was fun. It was very, very ridiculous, I should say. There's I say a low budget. I don't know how much money they had, but it apparently wasn't a lot. A lot of people debated on that it was a $30 million budget or $40 million budget. But Rob Zombie debunked that and said, I can make 3 movies with $40 million. So I don't think that was true. So I don't know exactly how much it costs to make, but however much money they used for it, it's definitely on screen. A lot of effort went into it. The character design, set design, a lot of effort went into that. This was shot during COVID, so there's not a whole lot of extras. A whole lot of people, except there's one scene that comes. There's one scene in the beginning and really one scene that comes later where there's a bunch of extras, but it requires that, so there's not a whole ton of extras people in this movie. You mainly focus on your Herman, your Lily, your Count, just basic key characters, which I think all are played fine. I think the one that's the weakest, but I wouldn't say it's awful, is Sherry Moon Zombie, who plays Lily Munster. She's doing her version of it. She's not trying to copy the last Yvonne DiCarlo, I think that's her name. She's not trying to copy her version of Lily. She's given her own interpretation. You have Jeff Daniel Phillips, who plays Herman Munster, who's supposed to be like this. He was made by mad scientists, just kind of was just kind of born, and so he's he's probably not even a week old. Or maybe a couple weeks old when him and Lily start seeing each other. So it's kind of a weird dynamic. And then you have Daniel Roebuck, who plays the Count, which I think a lot of people, everybody who watched it or talked about it, would agree that he's the best character of the three main cast. That he's the best casting, which I think he does a great job. But I think they all do a good job. In regards to Herman, a lot of people said that they don't like his voice. They thought he acted weird. He didn't kind of match Jeff Daniel Phillips. It's like, yeah, because he's kind of young. He hasn't quite gotten to that father era yet. He hasn't quite gotten to that stage yet. And even Herman in the original show, he has his spots of him being goofy and doing stuff that he probably shouldn't. So he's not like a 100% stern father character either. But Eddie's not born yet, so we don't know when that change or when that switch is going to be or is. So yeah, I mean, if you're playing a just married, kind of a fish out of water sort of character, doesn't really know a whole lot of stuff yet, and then gets thrown into a situation where they have to end up leaving Transylvania, or wherever I think it's Transylvania. They have to end up leaving their home country to move to America, and they get a house, which is the iconic Mockingbird Lane house, which I think is pretty cool on the outside set that they got. With that, you see cameos of Cassandra Peterson. She plays the landlord, realtor lady. So it's nice to see her not dressed up as Elvira, which I'm surprised they didn't do. There's like, oh, or they didn't just like dress her up as Elvira in the show, and she's like, oh, sorry, I didn't dress up. So she's dressed up as Elvira, but no, she's just dressed up as Cassandra Peterson. Which they see that we see that she's a witch in the trailer. I will say one thing about when this movie was advertised: the trailers did not do this movie justice. Like, I think they're probably some of the worst trailers I'd seen. Especially that first one when it came out, I was like, "Is this like it looks like a fan made?" Like somebody got the footage and made it in the trailer. But I don't know. I'm not a big budget studio executor. I edit films for that, so I don't know. But as far as the movie itself, it's a fun and interesting, study of who these characters were before they got married and settled down, and had a kid and everything. And I think it's a pretty fun movie. I think everybody could enjoy it. It's ridiculous, it's stupid, and there's a lot of in jokes where if you watch the show, you see a lot of like cameos for different characters and stuff like that, which I think is fun. So if you guys want to give it a try, it's on Netflix, I'm pretty sure. So check that out. And with that being said, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.